Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Mike Lenz VO podcast. My name is Mike Lenz. I'm an entrepreneur and a full-time professional voice actor and audiobook narrator. My goal is to share with you stories from some of the most amazing and inspiring people from all areas of the voiceover industry to help you achieve your dream of becoming a professional voice actor. So please leave me a review over on iTunes and join us over on the web at mikelenzvopodcast.com to be notified of each episode when it comes out. Now, get ready to be inspired. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Mike Lenz VO podcast. Before we get into the show, I want to share some great discounts from Voice123 and the LinkedIn Edge. In the show notes, I'll have a link for a 15% discount on a new Voice123 membership at the $395 level and up. Listen, I've had tremendous success on the Voice123 casting platform, and I do have an affiliate partnership with them to provide this amazing discount to my podcast listeners. So check the show notes for the special discount link, and this link is not going to last forever. So if you want to do this, you're going to want to do this soon. Also, as I've said many times, how important social media marketing is to find success in the VO industry. That's why I also have an affiliate partnership with my good friend Tracy Lindley to provide a 50% discount on her LinkedIn Edge course. I've been following Tracy's LinkedIn plan for years, and it has helped me connect with clients who hire me. It's a great course, so take advantage of this discount by clicking on the link in the show notes that will take you to an ordering page with the $50 discount already applied to the price. So both of these discounts can be found in the show notes, so check them out. Also, today's episode is sponsored by VoiceAm and the Audition Ready online course. You can head over to mikelenzvopodcast.com and click on the VoiceAm sponsor link to receive a 30-day free trial of VoiceAm, which is twice as long as the usual 15-day free trial period. So you definitely want to take advantage of that. I love VoiceAm. I use it on my website. It's a fantastic marketing tool in addition to being a great demo player. So check it out for free. Also, you can click on the Audition Ready online course link and enter promo code ML20 to receive 20% off Tim Tippett's Audition Ready online course. That's a savings of close to $100. Tim is an amazingly gifted talent, and he does such a good job of cutting through the complicated tech side of VO and making it easy to understand. He has helped me tremendously in my career, and I know he can help you too. So you can check out both of those offers over at mikelenzvopodcast.com. Also remember, if you're just starting out in VO and you're trying to figure out some of the fundamental things you need to do to create a solid foundation upon which to build your career, check out my VO Success course over at vosuccess.com. On that course, you'll have a lifetime access to 5 modules with downloadable PDFs and over 2.5 hours of video content. And as I mentioned, it is a lifetime access. So as I add new information and modules to the course, you're going to have access to all of it. We cover things like getting focused to make sure VO is a career you want to pursue. We talk about coaching and training, understanding the business side of running a freelance business, the importance of branding yourself and creating your niche, and of course, how to properly set up your home recording space. So check it out over at vosuccess.com. And if you'd like to do some one-on-one coaching or schedule a consultation to discuss your journey, you can do that over at my consultation page on my website at mikelenzvoice.com. And don't forget to sign up for my e-newsletter over at mikelenzvoice.com. Just go to the bottom of the homepage, sign up for updates on my journey and the interesting things I'm learning along the way. And finally, if you haven't already, head over to Facebook and join the Mike Lenz VO Podcast Facebook group. That's where you can ask specific questions about each episode, you can interact with me and other members of the group, and if there's something we didn't cover in this episode, you can let us know in the Facebook group and we'll get you an answer. On today's episode, I have the pleasure of hanging out with Brad Hyland. Brad has been a full-time voice actor since 2016, and he started in voiceover after quitting a first career that spanned 35 years. He spent 2 decades dabbling in stand-up comedy and movie extra work, as well as honing his pipes as frontman for a rock and blues band for 8 years. That love of performing is now satisfied daily as an actively booking voiceover talent, coach, and mentor. Brad works from his home studio near Washington, D.C., serving customers all over the world. He can tackle just about any assignment with his versatile voice and ability to take direction. Some of his favorite work includes being the voice of Santa for the Elf on the Shelf, narrating films for Crazy Horse Monument and Craters of the Moon national parks, and booking multiple character voices for video games. The core of his business, however, is commercial, corporate, and film narration, as well as explainers and voice messaging of all kinds. He is a multiple OneVoice Award winner and a 2021 SOVAS nominee for Best TV Narration. He loves keeping in touch with the voiceover community and has begun to share his expertise by mentoring and coaching others in the industry with his tips for auditioning, booking, and connecting. So relax, sit back, and enjoy my interview with Brad Hyland. Hey, Brad, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, this is cool. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to connect. You and I have connected on social media over the years, and so it's nice to have you on the podcast and get to chat for a little while.
Yeah, you're a busy guy on Instagram. I like following what you're doing. I like it.
I keep busy. You know, it's one of those things that we have to have in our toolbox these days. Is we've got to be able to do that self-marketing.
Yeah.
I think it's becoming one of the most important things that we do as voice talent.
It's just not easy for old guys. I mean, I'm talking about me mostly because I don't know how old you are, but TikTok and that kind of stuff is like, oh my God. And I'm on TikTok now, and I don't
I know. I saw you
I
there.
can't figure out why a video of me driving out my driveway during a snowstorm has 1,400 views, and me telling some great funny story has 300 views. It's like, okay, I
I
don't
don't
know.
understand it either, man. I'm over there on TikTok. I'm making videos and I'm checking things out, trying to figure out how it all works. But all I know is that TikTok is exploding. It has definitely become the social media
Yeah, and I learned
of
recently,
choice.
I can't remember who, it might have been from Mark Scott or something, but he said the metrics and the algorithms work better if you create original files for each one of those platforms and don't take your TikTok one and post it on Instagram. So I'm learning as I go. But
Yeah, you and me both. You and me both. So we'll help each other.
yeah,
Us
sure,
old guys
sure.
kind of help each other out. so
Yeah.
so why don't we start by having you share with our listeners a little bit about your journey into this wonderful VO industry.
It is wonderful. Oh my gosh. Even now, because I spent 35 years in contracting. I was a landscape contractor for 33 years. And before that, I was in tree care. And I treat all my life, I had listened to people, say, well, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And I said, yeah, right. Said nobody ever except a nurse and a preschool teacher or something. And I didn't believe it. So when I finally pulled the plug and went full time in 2016, it's hard. It's really hard. But man, when you get the traction going and you get the customers and things start to work, there's nothing more beautiful than being a full-time voice actor that I know of. I don't know.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. And similarly, I was almost 30 years in owning, my independent pharmacy. So before I transitioned over and did that about 4 years ago. So there's some similarities there
Yeah.
in terms of our path.
Although working in a pharmacy and owning a business is a far cry from running a landscape.
Yeah, but you're still running a
No, I
business
know.
though.
I just
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
Oof.
You're out there humping it, and I'm standing there in my white coat,
Oh, no, yeah, and
talking
I
to
was
people. Yeah,
management,
yeah.
so I didn't have but it was awful. Sorry if you hear my dog barking. They're downstairs. They're very,
No,
very
that's all right.
loud.
That's not a problem at all. But I think the transition for at least for me, and I think you'll agree, is that when I transitioned over to voiceover, and I talked to a lot of people that are aspiring voice actors, is that understanding the business side of this industry that we're in is really important, and having a small business background helps you understand what it's like to have revenues and expenses and manage all that stuff and managing your time
Yeah, and
appropriately as
marketing
well.
and sales and the fact when you go somewhere, you're supposed to talk about yourself, and
Mhm,
what you do. It has been I can make myself cry if I talk about it too long because
mhm.
it's that beautiful. And the way I got started was, I was sort of the funny guy, and I did voices and imitations, and I imitated all my teachers, and I was doing stand-up comedy, and somebody told me this is 30 something years ago. A friend of mine who had just created, a digital company back at the very, very bleeding edge of everything going digital. He said, "Hey, you should do voiceover." And I was like, "What's voiceover?" And he explained it to me. And then about a month later, another person this is down in Maryland now, said, "Hey, you should do voiceover." And then they said, "I saw this place where you can go take a seminar." And I did that and connected with some people. And then I found a coach and a producer and started. I went through the whole process. I did 2 years of training and one-on-one and master classes. And I did my demo reels back then when they were on DAT, you know, they were on DAT tape, and you got a whole box of CDs that you had to go give
Oh,
to
yeah.
people.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then my regular job with the landscaping thing just sort of got too busy, and I tabled everything and just bellyached about it for 33 years.
Wow.
And then Kathy, we were on a bicycle ride. I'll never forget it, in April of 2015, and she was listening to me talk, and the ownership of the company I had worked with had sold, and now it was run by people in an ivory tower that didn't know what two-cycle gas was. And um, she said, "You have to do this. We only how many years do we have?" And we looked at our hands, counting the fingers. How many years until we're drooling on ourselves on a front porch somewhere? So I quit. I just quit and threw it all away and
Wow.
went full time in April of 2016.
So before you quit, had you been building anything up in the margins? Had you gotten yourself the microphone and been auditioning and all that?
I had some of this stuff. I had I got a 2012 MacBook, and that was the first time I ever had a Mac product. And I had a 20-year-old Rode NT 1000, which is still a great.
Hmm.
It's still a great. It's so sensitive though. I can hear crickets arguing outside in the summer. So I'm using a 416. But yeah, I had started, and I did a couple of. I went for a weekend training in New York City, which got my juices flowing again. So I had some of the stuff put together. And the big thing is when I quit, I had a war chest that I could live off for a while,
Yep.
which is when I tell the people that I'm working with and students and people I mentor, and it's like, fall in love with your job again while you put every ounce of everything else you have into becoming a voice actor so that you can pay
Hmm.
your bills and still be happy while you know, I tell people, put down the gaming console and, put away Netflix and Prime and just spend that time researching and exploring and learning.
Yeah. I mean, it's so important to, and the important point that you just brought up is that you had somewhat of a game plan. I think in today's environment, we've got people who are. I tell people don't quit your day job just yet.
Hmm.
Make sure that you've done some of your homework, like you just said, before you jump into this because it's more competitive now than it's ever been. And the expectations are greater than they've ever been because you are expected to be able to really fully produce finished work instead of going into a studio and having somebody else take care of it after you're done recording.
Yep.
So,
The process is deep and broad. Yeah.
yes. So, just saying, I saw somebody post on TikTok that you can make $1,000 an hour recording audiobooks. It's like, okay, stop,
Hello,
stop.
McFly.
Not happening.
Yeah.
Not happening, at least not right away. So be careful, be careful. But I think the transition over and discovering something that you can pour yourself into that doesn't feel like work gets back to what you said
Yeah,
earlier.
it's really amazing.
It's pretty awesome.
Yep, some days, I'll get a text from Kathy downstairs, and it'll be like, "Hey, dinner's ready. I'm gonna go ahead and eat," and I'll say, "I'll be right down," and then an hour later, I'm down, but she's so nice about it. She supports it so much and understands how it can be so all-consuming when you get into that mode, but it's a fabulous thing.
It is, and there was a great quote that I read a few days ago from I think it's the guy that wrote Atomic Habits, and it was fantastic. And it was about about how if you can tell somebody that's really successful at their job is if they really enjoy the grunt work of what it is that they do.
Mhm.
And in VO, it's like you have to love those pieces that aren't the what people perceive VO to be, which is I sit in front of a microphone and I just record all day long,
Yeah.
and I'm just doing job after job after job. That's not what it really
I
is.
tell people, "You better I personally really like auditioning, and it's a part of the job, and I've gotten super fast and super good at it. I never waste any time doing something that isn't perfect for me, and I'm able to produce nice broadcast quality snippets of sound quickly, so it doesn't kill me. But that's just an example that, you have to wanna audition, and you have to like it, because you're never gonna go anywhere until you've auditioned a ton, and you also have to be able to market yourself and do all that hard work that has nothing to do with sitting behind a microphone.
No, no. I mean, the actual recording is probably the thing we spend the least amount of time on in terms of overall, generally speaking. I mean, not necessarily for audiobook narrators, because I record a lot of audiobooks and I'm recording a lot during the day. But in general, if you're not devoting time to those other pieces, then you're not going to have long term success, because you've got to be able to
Nope.
build your business as you go along. So, um, so share with us a little bit about some of the background that I read in the email that you sent me. You mentioned the comedy, but you were in a band, I think,
Yeah.
at some point?
I had a customer who did the inspections on my landscape installs, who worked for the town of Rockville, and he's like, he heard me yammer on about voiceover someday, and he said, "Oh, yeah, so do you sing?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I do sing." So he said, "Come on, we need a new singer." And I went to their studio in the basement of the bass player's house and noodled around, and then in, I think, 2 or 3 weeks after that, we had our first gig, and I just loved it. It's roots rock and roll and blues, and, just good old time roots style music. And what we did that for 8 no, was it 8 years? 8 years. Yeah, I was the front man for that band for 8 years.
That's fun. Did you have musical background
Um,
experience?
I'm a musical guy and singing, but I've never, I played the trombone and trumpet in elementary school. You have some lessons, but I wasn't, I couldn't sit down on a piano and somebody said, "Okay, I could hit middle C," and that's it. Um, so it was
But had you performed was that the first time you performed singing?
yes, and other
That's
than
pretty
boys
cool.
choir in 8th grade. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's fun, man. What was that experience like, being up there on the stage with everybody watching? It's gotta be.
I loved it so much, and we would practice Fridays that turned into just like a big party. And then when we go to gig, it just was a big rush, and I would get into we'd play at little restaurants and cafes and little clubs and walk around and meet people and introduce myself. And then when you make a couple of connections, even if it's just 2 or 3 with groups of people, and you find a name, or somebody's having a party, or somebody's, and then when you're on stage and you talk to those people, the connection and the electricity with the performance and the people in the crowd just changes, just flips right away
Yeah.
and becomes a positive thing. And I love that. I just absolutely love that.
That's neat, and I always know that for me, kind of my touchstone has always been, I wanna use my voice to communicate, and I was trying to figure that out through multiple career paths, and I finally found it through VO that
Mhm.
being able to use my voice to communicate and impact people um, was really what I wanted to do, and VO allowed me to do that. And I think there's a perfect connection between using your voice as a singer in a band and performing and getting that feedback from the audience, and also using your voice to communicate in the booth. I mean, it's a kind of a natural progression.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just like also, one of the things that I tell my people that I'm helping is talking about the use of Zoom and how important it is to talk to somebody and see somebody face to face.
Mhm.
And that's a I almost love that as much as the job itself. When you get to when somebody tries to hire you from Germany, and you're talking about questions about the script, and you say, "Hey, you wanna jump on a quick Zoom? Here's a link." And they go, "Oh, I would like to." And then in their broken English, they're having this great time chatting with you and learning all about what you do, and I think that's just some of the best part of the job.
Oh, yeah, there's no question, and the industry has changed so much, because I know originally when I was getting trained that I remember talking to somebody who was, regionally in my area was a successful voice actor, and we were talking about I was gonna take the money that I made after I paid off my coaching. My initial training was I was gonna put it into a home recording studio, because 'cause I'm like, I think that I want to have a place where I can record at home. She's like, oh, no, no, I'm not doing that. She goes, I go to studios. What do you need a home recording studio for? And oh boy, I'm sure she has one by now,
Yeah.
but I lost touch with her. But the way the industry has evolved has been just, if you look at the growth of that piece of the industry, or I shouldn't say the growth, the evolution
Yeah.
has been so dramatic.
Well, there was a lot of A-list Hollywood talent that get paid handsomely to do voiceover. And whether it's a commercial or a spot or whatever. And then when COVID hit, all these people who had no home studios, no interest in having one, they were like, "Now what do I do?" And there were a lot of studios popping up in people's homes all over the place during COVID.
Oh yeah, no question about it. So, yeah, I want to talk about some of the work that you've been doing, and we want to talk about some other parts of your career. But I'm going to take just a quick 2-minute break. We're going to hear from our sponsors, and then we'll come right back with our interview with Brad Hyland. Hey, everybody. I just want to talk a little bit about the sponsors of this podcast. The first one is VoiceZam. My friend Bob Merkel has a great product. You guys know, if you've listened to this podcast, I've been promoting it for a while because it works fantastic. It not only is a web-based demo player where you can stack your demos so that when you're sending them out to clients or people come to your website, they can easily click through and listen to your demos. They don't have to scroll through an MP3. They can actually see them stacked on top of each other. Great feature. And also, you can use it as a marketing tool. And there's so many different ways that you can use it, and I use it all the time. So go over to voicezam.com and schedule a conversation with Bob Merkel. And also, if you go to the Mike Lenz VO podcast website, about halfway down the homepage, you'll go to the sponsors, and you can click on that link, and you'll get a 30-day free trial. Now, regularly, it's a 15-day free trial, but if you click on the Mike Lenz special deal, you're going to get an additional 15 days for free. All right, so check that out over at voicezam.com. Also want to talk about my friend Tim Tippett and his Audition Ready audio course. You can go over to his website at votechguru.com, or go to the link on my website at the MikeLenzVOpodcast.com, and you can go down to the sponsor link, click on that, and type in ML20. You'll get 20% off of Tim's course. That's, I believe, almost a $100 savings. So you're going to want to check that out. A fantastic course that teaches you about the technical side of what we do, which is equally important as the creative and talent side. So check that out as well. So again, I want to thank my sponsors, the VO Tech Guru and the Audition Radio audio course, as well as my friend Bob Merkel over at voicezam.com. All right, thank you so much. We'll get back to the show now. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. I am here with Brad Hyland, and we've been talking about Brad's career and his journey and evolution, and just the evolution of the industry in general, which is fascinating, and what amazing TikTok stars we have become. And who would have guessed it? I mean, we're just the views are just going through the roof.
My immense following, immense,
incredible. We're getting there. But so talk about, if you don't mind, a little bit about the work that you're doing. So I know you went full time, and I talk about how I do a lot of audiobooks and e-learning and corporate narration and some podcast producing. There's so many areas, so many genres of the voiceover world. What have you found that you've been either drawn to, or what is the path that has opened up for you as you ventured in?
Well, it's funny because I remember when I first went full time, people would say, "Hey, don't say you do everything, because nobody does everything." And of course, I created a social media tag, and my branding is the most versatile voice from coast to coast, because I do everything except audiobooks, because of people like you and many, many other friends of mine that are so good at it that I would never, ever start to compete, because I know how good you guys are. Plus,
You'd be wonderful.
I can't sit still long enough.
Well, that's the real answer.
I have a good friend, Pat Kirchner, and he does audiobooks, and he has the patience and the skill and and he's got the great voice for it. I just don't want to compete with people who are already doing audiobooks. So I do everything else. I do commercial, TV, radio commercial. I do tons of corporate narration, e-learning. I do a lot of telephony work. And I love character work. I love doing, I don't chase it particularly, but when I have an opportunity to audition, or somebody finds me and asks me to audition, I love doing it. I just did a big VR character game finished last week, and I don't know if you know, I'm the voice of Santa Claus for Elf on the Shelf, and
I did see, I saw that. Yeah.
I have actually, I always have this doll right here.
My sleigh will bring joy on Christmas Eve, thanks to each reindeer and kids.
So I press its tummy and it talks to me. But yeah, I love doing everything. Character work it's very dear to me. But I would say, 80% of my revenues just come from quote unquote, it's not boring, it's fabulous, but it's just explainers and e-learning and just regular corporate narration kind of work.
Yeah. And that's such an important piece for a lot of us voice actors is that component because, you've got to navigate your journey. And, I think you're like the 132nd episode of this podcast. And of all the people that I've interviewed, I haven't found any that followed the same path.
Mhm. Yeah,
Everybody took a different path. Everybody's doing something unique or different that is specific to them. And it's kind of interesting how the the paths clear for you as you start. And I tell people a lot, you just have to take that first step, and you don't necessarily know what's the next step is, but it will open itself up to you, and sometimes through ways that you could never even have imagined. The majority of work that I've gotten over the years or genres that I've gotten into have been based on referrals and recommendations from colleagues that I network with and get to
sure.
know. So,
Yep.
it's you have to audition, but it's important to network and make sure that you're connected with people in the industry who can refer you
Yep.
because that's a huge piece. At least it has been for me.
Yeah, and the character stuff is so fun, but it's just few and far between compared to the rest of the work that I do.
Do you find yourself on? Do you work off of casting sites?
I do. I'd have a lot of casting site activity. And I tell people that I work with that I'm helping is, use some casting site as part of your war chest, but don't just rely on that. I kind of did when I started, and I would never ever tell somebody to do that. You really need to own the whole marketing and business management portion of what you do. But I'm very active on a few casting sites, and I've had a lot of success. Like the Santa customer, they found me, I think, on Voice 123, and this was back in beginning of 2017. And I remember that was a callback. I did the audition, they liked it, and I had 2 or 3 callbacks until I finally had a conversation with the person who wrote the book for Elf on the Shelf, Shanda Bell, and her mom wrote it. And I did a live audition, and they were just wanting me to laugh in a certain way. And she said, "We love your laugh, but we kind of want it to sound like this." And she did what she wanted. And I said, "You mean like ho 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 ho?" And she goes, "Yeah, that's it. That's the laugh we want." Um, and that's what
Perfect.
that's what booked me the job.
Yeah, I mean, casting sites play an important role, I think, for a lot of voice actors. But I agree with you. Just like agents can send you auditions, but to rely on them exclusively, a lot of people are like, I just have to go get an agent, and then
Yeah,
all the work
crickets.
will come.
Yeah,
Doesn't
agents
work
are
that way.
important, but that's
Yeah,
yeah.
I had one of my guests. Can't remember what her name is. She said she got her first job when she went full time, and and she was actually lamenting this. And I think I kind of get where she's coming from. Her first job was a $40,000 job, and she was, but I've never made $40,000 on a job since then.
Yeah.
So she was, there's something. I was excited because I landed this audition and it was big payday. But she goes, when you start out with that, and then you don't get anything for a while, and then you're getting $125 to do an IVR or an on hold message. She's like, it's very humbling. It's
Yeah,
very humbling.
and
You realize quickly that there's a lot of competition out there.
and it's really fun to book the big ones, but it's the small ones. I always tell people, if a little voiceover fairy landed on my shoulder with a magic wand and said, "Hey, buddy," my voiceover fairy talks like that. It's like, "Hey, buddy, you
Yeah,
you
kind
can
of a tough guy.
yeah, you can do the corporate narration for the rest of your life, e-learning, explainer, whatever you want. You're never gonna do another TV or radio commercial, but you're gonna be very busy and very happy. Are you okay with that? I would say hit me. Tap me with
Yeah,
that wand because that's what I love to
absolutely.
do.
Consistently working is the goal.
Mhm.
And it's nice like you said, it's nice to get some big paydays along the way, but it's a long career if you're just waiting for the next one to hit.
Yeah. Yep.
It's
And
consistency,
sad.
and
A lot
yeah,
of s
and it is
there's enough
unfortunate.
self-doubt and enough peaks and valleys even when you do everything you're supposed to do. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'll tell you, another friend of mine, Evan Farmer, who was a guest, and he was active in TV for a number of years, and he wrote a book on the entertainment industry, and I had the fortunate to be able to narrate that for him. And he talked about in entertainment in general, not exclusive to voiceover, but it applies. Is that he said the most successful people in Hollywood are people you've probably never heard of.
Mhm.
They are the working actors. These are the people that get up every day and they go to work and they work as an entertainer, as an actor. And you probably might recognize them if you see them on the street, or you might recognize their voice, but they're working all the time in film and TV and theater and education,
Yeah.
whatever genre it is. But she goes, you hear about the Meryl Streeps and the Brad Pitts and the Robert De Niros of the world, and rightfully so. They are the superstars. But the majority of Hollywood is filled with the working actor, and the goal for you as an entertainer is to work
Yep.
first and foremost. Fame is great, maybe sometimes, but I want to work.
Yep.
When I get up in the morning, I want to go down to my studio and I want to look at my whiteboard and I want to see what I have next on my agenda and I want to go to work.
Yep.
And when I'm not doing that, talking in the microphone, I'm looking for work.
Yeah.
That's the name of the game,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yep. It's a slog. It's a beautiful, fun slog, and that's what I tell people is just get ready for it's never gonna happen overnight. Rarely does it happen overnight for anybody.
Yeah.
Even after you get some great training and get a few great demos done by somebody and you actually have a website and, "Hey, look, I have a business card too." Nothing's gonna
Yeah.
just come bouncing into your inbox because of those things. Nothing.
No. No. So tell me a little bit about the coaching and mentoring. You mentioned that a few times, and I know that you said that you've kind of started to add that to your list of things that you do. So, which makes a lot of sense. So how's that been going?
I love it. It's not something that I don't have a budget or a line item or I track all my revenues for the different things that I do, but um, it was very organic for me because I just liked helping people, and there was a number of people that I was answering questions for, and then I started listening to audio and making some suggestions, and then I got some great advice from some people who were very successful, and just let it sort of happen organically and naturally because I'm not here to take anybody's business, and I know there are some coaches that are um, they feel like, Wait a minute, you haven't been killing yourself behind a mic for 20 years? You gotta do that first before you coach." And
Yeah.
the funny thing is I'm an older guy, and, my training started 30 years ago, and I don't give myself the credit that I have sometimes in just the cred in the business. So yeah, I love to do it, and I tip what I don't typically do is I don't take people brand new that say, "Hey, Brad, somebody said I had a great voice and I should do voiceover. So what do I do now?" I don't help those people. I mean, I'll do a free 10-minute Zoom and give them some lists of things to start doing, but I'm not going to coach those people yet. They need to have gotten into the weeds and done some research and looked at YouTube about 14 hours worth because there's so much out there and or Gravy for the Brain or something like that. There's so much that you can do to get yourself in a position to be trained to be a busy voice actor. But I love to do it. I love to do it.
Yeah. It is nice to be able to kind of help somebody along who's in the thick of it and is trying to move their career along. And if I think we all kind of fall victim to that. We don't necessarily, um, realize how much we have to offer the community because we do it every day. And the things that, and I found this on TikTok with some of the posts that I posted, is videos I posted, is that there's some things that are just so inherently um, I'm aware of just because I've been doing them, but somebody who's new to the industry might not have any idea or
Right.
probably doesn't.
Right.
And it's a revelation to them to hear it from you. And you're like, well, wait a minute. I forgot that they might not know this. And that's where it's nice to be able to talk to people and mentor and coach people that are new to the industry or newer to the industry who are willing to put in the work. And I've done enough of that kind of coaching and mentoring over the years to, it when you see it. You'll be working
Yeah.
with someone and you can tell that this person is doing it the right way. They're putting in the time.
Yeah, and they listen. They listen to what you say, and they take actionable steps on the things that you ask them to do. And
Yeah,
the people that work with me, I always tell them up front, you have to trust me, because if I'm working with you, it's because I have decided that I love you, and I love
right.
what you're trying to do, and I'm gonna be part of that. So here's my homework, and this is what you need to do. And the people that really get it fast are the ones that just dive into every bit of the homework and the things that I've asked them to do. And it's fun because I've seen people go from, barely having a studio to now they're booking jobs, and it's a
Yeah,
really fun process to see.
yeah. That's awesome. That's really awesome. So let's wrap up with that wonderful question that
My favorite
we.
ice cream? No, okay, sorry. No,
No,
sorry.
but you can tell us what your
No,
favorite ice cream is if you want. I
no.
mean, we're always open to suggestions here at the
I thought
podcast.
maybe
But
you wanted a quick out, so I was gonna say,
m-
caramel cone, Haagen-Dazs caramel
m-
cone.
mine is black raspberry. I like that with some chocolate sauce over it. That's a good combo. Um, if you were sitting down with, we were speaking of aspiring voice actors, if you were having a cup of coffee with an aspiring voice actor and they said, Brad, give me one piece of advice, just one thing I could take away, what would that be?
I can't do it in just one thing. And are we when we're sitting down having that coffee, are we just talking like we're friends, being conversational? That's just a no, it's a side.
Yeah, yeah, let's go with that.
Like, that does make me laugh every time. I boy, VO, being a successful voice actor full time is a thing, and it's not a good voice, and it's not somebody said you could do it, and it's not you love doing imitations of cartoons from the '70s and '80s. That's not gonna make it happen. It is a whole, um, soul-searching giant thing that you do on your own all by yourself in a little room, and it's, mm, your voice is I tell them people every time, "The way you sound is about, anywhere from 2 to 10% of being a voice actor or less,
Yeah,
and the rest is positioning yourself, doing the work, putting in all that you need to do." But if it's a passion and you think you can do it and somebody has excited you to do it, then the other thing is you just can't give up. You have to I tell people all the time that a successful voice acting career is like, it's a boring analogy, but it's, you got a train and you have it on the track. You have to put all the cars in the right order and make sure things are working, and you can chew on all the pieces as you're going. It doesn't have to be a bullet train headed to New York right away, but there are so many moving parts that you have to be able to understand and work on as you go. And you can do all those things as you go. Like, people start out, it's like, "Oh my gosh, I have no idea what my brand is gonna be." And I'm like, "You haven't even booked a job yet. Why are you worried about what brand is, let's get you going, and then you can start thinking about what your website's gonna look like and all that." So that's what I tell people, is that it's a thing, and it's a big thing, and you're gonna have to have really thick skin. You're gonna have to work your face off, maybe harder than you've ever worked before, to get started, and have super thick skin while you go through, because it takes a while to get to that, whatever that magic returning customer number is. I tell people 100 customers. When you get to 100 people that are coming back to you, that is a really great way to feed the voiceover business that will keep you afloat and keep you paying your bills and investing in things you want.
yeah.
And then you can chip away at new customers as you go.
Right. And, don't try to get jobs, try to build clients.
Mhm.
That's the name of the game. You want clients that are going to come back and hire you again and again. And
It is the absolute gold of the voiceover business is the returning customers that trust you, like working with you, and working with you is not a job for them because you can do everything they want and do it quickly and perfectly with a great, guarantee, the whole thing.
yeah, they have that gives them one less thing to worry
Yeah.
about because they know they don't have to worry about Brad delivering because he's done it before.
Mm-hmm.
So that's gonna get you in the door time and time again. Having a great voice is important, but if you can't or you can't interpret copy and you can't take direction, then having a great voice doesn't really matter.
Not a bit.
So you got to make sure that you figure that out sooner rather than later. That's not enough in this industry. But if you can do those things, the landscape for voiceover actors, voice artists, I think is just so fertile. The landscape is amazing in terms of what we're able to do and have access to be able to do.
I love people when I'm telling them I'm at a function and I let people talk about their doctors or lawyers or their teachers. And then someone will say, "What do you do?" "I'm a voice actor." "Oh my gosh, I've never met a voice actor." And then they say, "Well, what is voice acting?" And I say, "Well, have you ever driven in your car? It's everything you listen to your whole life long, whether you're driving, walking, being entertained, it's voiceover." So there you
Yeah.
have it.
We're everywhere.
We're everywhere.
So before we wrap up, where can people find you?
My website is AmericanVoicePower.com, and people can email me if they have a question or want to give me a comment, and that's just brad@AmericanVoicePower.com. My Instagram is @HearBradHyland, HEAR. So it's @HearBradHyland. And same thing.
Great.
I think it's the same on Instagram.
Well, if they find you there, they can find you at the other places as well. So that's wonderful. So hey, it's been great chatting with you, hanging out, talking.
I
finally
really,
getting a
really
chance to
enjoyed
meet.
it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So I appreciate you coming on and continued success in your journey.
Thanks very much.
Thank you so much for joining me today on the Mike Lenz VO podcast. Head on over to MikeLenzVOpodcast.com for links and recaps of each show. Catch you next time on the Mike Lenz VO podcast.